So imagine one day you find out that everything that you thought you knew about yourself was a lie. That your parents weren't who they said they were, your family wasn't who they said they were, and that everybody knew. Your friends, your church, your community, everybody that you grew up with, your neighbors, they all knew the truth except for you. Well, that exact thing happened to me when I was 18 years old. My two best friends came to me just before our high school graduation and told me that my parents and my family weren't who they said they were. And when I asked them how they knew, that's when they told me, well, everybody knew. And it sent me into a pretty deep state of shock for a good 20 years. I really wasn't able to process the information. I didn't ask any questions of my family. I basically went on for quite some time pretending that I never heard this information. And everybody asks me, and it's a good question, did you make this film because you were angry at your family and you were trying to get back at them by exposing the fact that they kept this secret from you? And I never was angry. I think I was angry. I think it was buried down deep inside, but I was never outwardly angry. If anything, I was just confused. So that confusion really propelled me forward to ask all these questions of my family. And, one of the reasons why I ended up filming these questions that I was asking, these interviews with them, and didn't just sit down with them over a cup of coffee, is because my family is really not very open about these sorts of things, and we just don't have those kinds of talks. And so I took the camera as almost as like a way of drawing the truth out of them. They would take me more seriously if I had this camera with me. It would become more of an official interview and not just a talk. And somehow I thought that would be enough of a buffer between me and them to allow them to be truthful. I went home to Kansas, where I grew up on a farm, and I basically set up the camera and just started asking questions. But it took me about 2.5 to 3 hours to get to the really tough questions about why. And there's a moment in the very beginning of the film where I say to them, everybody knew about this. Did you know that everybody knew? And they acted surprised that they didn't realize everybody had known. And I said, well, it's a small town. It was an open secret. Everybody knew about it, but nobody talked about it. And then I said, and the only one that didn't know, and then they said back to me, was you. And started laughing. And I knew in that moment when my parents were laughing, at me, I don't think it was malicious or mean-spirited, but they were laughing at me about this fact that everybody knew but me, that I had to keep asking more and more questions. So basically I started traveling around the country talking to my family, my 6 sisters and 2 brothers, and all my people I grew up with, and I started to dissect and take things apart. And 6 years later, we have Open Secret. And it's amazing because when I first started to do the film, I thought, well, this is going to be a film about me. This is about me and my quest and me finding all this stuff out and how I'm dealing with it. And I just figured that's how it was going to end up being. And as things progressed, and as we took all this footage, this 90-some hours of footage into the editing room, I came to discover that this was really a story about the 2 women in my life. The grandmother who raised me, who told me that she was my adoptive mother and not my grandmother, and the woman who gave me up, my biological mother, who I thought for 18 years was my sister. And it became such a complicated story of family and of women and women's choices during the 40s and the 50s and 60s. And basically what I became in this film was the guide that let that story be told. So I hope you enjoy Open Secret. I hope it brings up lots of questions for you, and I hope that it will maybe help you understand any family secrets that might exist in your family and prevent you from maybe keeping some of your own if you are or thinking about doing such a thing. But anyway, enjoy the film, and thank you very much.